Anthropic is a trillion-dollar company. It's one of those numbers that as a kid, you don't really know if it's real or not. It's like a gajillion dollars. It's just a number that's utterly meaningless to you and me. And this gajillion dollar company, they wrote a document called 2028 Two Scenarios for Global AI Leadership. And you might be thinking, okay, cool, we got options. Let's hear it. So let me tell you about those options. Option one is that the US government helps defeat Anthropic's overseas competitors. Anthropic, in this case, incidentally becomes a multi-bajillion dollar company, but that's not important to Anthropic. What really matters to them is that they were able to keep the world safe and everyone lives in prosperity. The other option is a totalitarian hellscape in which Xi Jinping personally shows up and steals your girl. And there's nothing you can do about it because these motherfuckers got DeepSeek. In this world, they're committing genocide against a little-known ethnic minority group called Americans, and the world as you know it is over. Now, which of these options do you want? You want the option that makes Napoleon Dynamite here into an ultra-gazillionaire. I mean, he never asked for that. But he will accept it. When I first opened this document, my first reaction was to ask, what the fuck am I reading? And it only got worse from there. But, misery loves company, so I'm going to make y'all look at this shit while I talk about it. Let's start with what Anthropic wants. In short, they want democracies to have a commanding lead on AI, according to them, which means more restrictions on sending compute to China, stopping the Chinese labs from distilling Anthropic's models, those dirty criminals, and accelerating adoption of AI in the United States. Basically, the US government should help to defeat Anthropic's competition while encouraging people to buy Anthropic's products for democracy. None of this is new. This whole not selling chips to China debate is what Jensen Huang was arguing when he said, that's a loser attitude, makes no sense to me. Anthropic knows that if China has the same computing power as the US, that'd be a real threat to Anthropic. So Anthropic doesn't want that. And the whole distilling our models thing isn't new either. Distilling a model is basically when a competitor lab makes a ton of requests to some frontier model and trains its model on that. This makes it possible to create a model that is very close in the performance to the model being copied at a fraction of the price. According to Anthropic, this is how DeepSeek was trained. And I've just got to be honest, I love that this is possible. And these AI labs had this master plan where they'd steal everyone's data to train their AI, and then they'd sell that AI back to the people they stole the data from for an enormous profit. And it turns out someone can steal that model back. I mean, this is just the universe saying karma's real, fuck you. And China, because they're fucking funny, keep making these models publicly available for free. I mean, it's just beautiful. Thank you, China. Keep it coming. Daddy wants a new Opus 4.7 open weight model for his birthday. Let's make it happen. So Anthropic has a problem because if China gets this compute and if China can keep copying their models, they're kind of fucked. So they do what every grifting maniac does, and they ask the government for a bailout. So that's what they're doing here. They're saying, please help us, Donald. We need your support to use your government power to stop our competitors. But why would the US government give a shit if Dario becomes a quadrillionaire? They don't. So Anthropic needs a much more convincing story. And so they say, what if AI could kill everyone? That'd be bad if China could kill everyone. They're already making an army of DeepSeek drones or some shit. We gotta watch out. And for those of us who are less afraid of death, they throw in some fears about how AI in the wrong hands will strengthen repression around the world, so we should feel bad. And they use the opportunity to mention Mythos and how lucky we are that America built it first. And they, of course, point to Firefox, who's more than happy to say Mythos is amazing, it's super scary, if it just means that people remember that Firefox still exists. They wrap up this whole god awful document by reminding everyone that China is super scary and we can't afford to let them win, and then asking the US government to support measures that happen to make the good folks over at Anthropic wealthier beyond your wildest dreams. Again, crush our overseas competitors and push AI adoption home because democracy. I've been joking about this, but honestly, it's quite offensive to me. As things stand, we have a US company building closed weight models that they control, where they get to decide who has access and who doesn't. They regularly ban users without warning for daring to use their models in ways they don't deem acceptable. And they create projects like Glasswing where they handpick who does and doesn't get access to their models. They even want to be able to dictate to the US government how the US government is allowed to use those models. And then they turn around and have the audacity to say, help us so that democracy wins. This isn't about democracy. I mean, on the other side, you have these Chinese labs making open weight models that everyone can use, but they're the authoritarian option. And so you want the US government, backed by the American people, to put an end to these dangerous open weight models coming out of China so that Americans can pay you for the right to use your models if you so allow and in the manner you so decide. Fuck that. Let's just take their fucking shares. And then on the safety front, think about this line they're trying to sell us on. AI is so scary and dangerous that open models must be stopped. People who buy into this have these wild theories about how AI can be used to create novel viruses and comparing AI to nuclear weapons. But if you buy into that nonsense, which I don't, it doesn't really help Anthropic. If they're really making the equivalent of nukes, then we definitely shouldn't let them have private control over that technology. And I definitely don't want anyone making $1 trillion off of tech that might kill us all, because that's just like the greatest negative externality of all time. If it goes well, you become a quadrillionaire, and if it goes poorly, we all die. Not cool. So this line Anthropic has to walk between so dangerous we need government intervention to block our foreign competitors, but safe enough for private companies to be in charge of, is so razor thin, I'm not even sure it exists. And I don't like our quadrillionaires trying to sell us the idea that they're doing this for our safety. Neither should you. So honestly, fuck Anthropic and their bullshit. They don't get to have it both ways. They want to protect democracy and safety, and the only way to do it is for the US government to intervene? Okay, so be it. You said it, not me. The capitalist in me wouldn't have suggested it, but fine, if you insist, US government, let's take national control over this thing. Let's make this ours. That really how it is? That what you want? Seems what you're arguing. Just be careful what you ask for. Keep down this bullshit where you try to scare everyone into supporting policies that make you richer. Maybe that's where you're going to end up. Fuck Anthropic.